Good afternoon, or even depending upon where you are, good morning. My name is Andrew Nicholson and I'll be your host and presenter for today's joint Utilities 400 and askBOB presentation on IBM I integration. askBOB, or Ask Best of Breed for IBM Power I, is a newly formed group of Best of Breed IBM I business partners, consultants and ISVs providing advice and best practice through knowledge, experience and range of best-in-class solutions and services. Utilities 400, a specialist in IBM I data integration, intelligence, automation and application development, is a member of this group. I'm extremely pleased to be joined today by Denise Osborne, Senior Sales Consultant for Utilities 400, who will be providing today's live demonstration and answering your questions. Welcome to the webinar, Denise.
Thanks, Andy. Good afternoon, everyone.
Before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. For your questions, please tweet us at @askBOB or at Utilities400 and use the Integrate IBM I hashtag. We may not get these until after the webinar, so please take note. To join the live discussion, use the Management Console. Now you should find this somewhere on the right-hand side of your screen. This you can find the Questions tab. Please feel free to open this up and ask a question. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Finally, if you've missed something or wanted to walk through the demonstration again, don't worry, we're recording this event and you'll receive a link to the video within the next 48 hours. That's it for housekeeping, so pour yourself a coffee, pull up a chair and grab the popcorn as we're about to begin. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you through the common IBM I integration problems and offer some solutions, some free, some premium. I'll kick off by introducing integration trends for the year ahead and set the scene for the problems and difficulties the modern IBM I IT manager or CIO may face. I'll then move to the IBM I integration toolkit and provide you with a few solutions that can help you today. This will lead us nicely into today's presentation, which will involve a common scenario of being able to accept and process purchase orders in XML or XLS. We'll close the session by answering your questions, so don't be shy, send those questions in. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce some industry trends and concepts on the integration imperative, a tactical look at why robust, secure and automated integration is required for business success. So what are the top integration trends? Well, I'd like to introduce the top 4 trends for this year, and I'll kick off with B2B. This trend has been around for a little while and never really left the radar, but as Forrester Research highlighted, it's back to the top of the pack due to the proliferation and growth of XML formats. In a recent study, Forrester found that EDI is the B2B integration mainstay. Its usage predates other options by at least 2 decades, and so because of this, it's embedded in nature and has been resistant to wholesale change. But EDI is expensive to implement, difficult to maintain, and is very structured and difficult to change. EDI alone fundamentally fails to address the growing sources and file formats that businesses need to process today. The trend for being able to accept and use multiple formats has grown exponentially in the past 2 years alone. And for those businesses who are not addressing these integration issues may be missing business altogether. Now, another buzzword today is big data. Now, here's something that you may not know, but 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years alone. Each and every day, people and businesses are creating and transferring, and wait for this, over 2.5 quintillion bytes of data, all of which, in some form or other, has to be managed, parsed, and utilized. Speed of transfer is also becoming more of an issue as more businesses transmit more information that needs processing immediately. Complexities with data handling, automation, and of course the big one, validation, become more and more apparent. Now 2012 saw a major shift in how executives view data. An article in a leading publication, IT Business Edge, explained that more top-level executives say they want to make business decisions based upon data, not their gut. Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward, right? But this is a huge cultural change over the past. Now, a side effect of this trend is that executives are beginning to appreciate the need to use the information they already have, and receive from business stakeholders more intelligently. Instead of having silos of information, link this information intelligently in areas for objects such as composite data warehouses and collaborative platforms. Integration is also being used as a strategic weapon to lock out competitors through offering an automated value-added service. For example, if you're trying to win new business and the prospects want to send you orders in XML, CSV, TXT via email or FTP, you should simply be able to say yes, right? Ask them to go down a different, more arduous route. Then you open the door to competition who can save them time and money by doing what you can't. When you extrapolate this example into multiple forms and processes, we start to build up a compelling business case for moving down this path. What conclusions can be drawn from these trends, and what will modern businesses running on IBM be required to do to achieve these goals? Well, after 2 decades at the top, EDI adoption is now in decline. Businesses are looking at a cleaner, more efficient way of transferring this type of information, and are turning to XML and other more modern formats to replace these systems. There's also the huge increase in volumes and binary size of data being transferred too. This growth has the potential to add hours onto integration activities. Businesses will receive a large amount of files in various formats from various locations, each having to be received and processed. Businesses want to be better able to use the data that they have and receive. So the ability to link and use all sources of information within the enterprise becomes of a more predominant overriding need. Now, if security is king, then integration speed is its queen. Bad data leads to bad business transactions. Whatever we use simply must have levels of security and validation. In addition, if some of these files or the volume of files we're sending, receiving, could run into gigabytes. As such, the most robust and efficient modes of information and transfer should be adopted. Finally, due to the nature of its complexities, integration is being used as a unique selling point by companies who do it well. They're not only retaining key business, but winning new business from those who do it poorly. So what technologies are available to provide this functionality to complete all the requirements as identified within the market trends, and more besides too? Well, let's take you through some of the available technologies to give you a flavor of what's available. Now, for the purposes of this webinar, we've taken a couple of free and premium tools to give you an idea of what can be achieved. The demonstration you're going to see in a few minutes' time will use the premium solution from Utilities 400. But let's start with IBM themselves. There are toolkits available that provide the basic functionality for the simple pass of XML documents to the IBM I. Yes, the file already has to be on the IFS, but with the correct knowledge, it will allow you to pass the information from the XML to the IBM I in whatever format that you require. Now, unfortunately, there's little in the way of integrated validation and security, but then again, this is a free solution. So if you're looking to complete basic XML integration on an ad hoc basis, it's certainly worth a look. More advanced functionality from IBM comes from its WebSphere product, but this does come at considerable expense. Similarly, Scott Clement provides a freeware tool for XLS. This program takes the XLS and uploads it to the tables. It works, and it's certainly worth considering for one-off or the ad hoc requirements. So 2 quick programs, 2 quick hits, and 2 quick fixes for those integration requirements. But what if we need something a little bit more robust and a little bit more advanced? Well, if your needs are for key integration with suppliers, with silos of information that are part of your business chain, then a premium solution from the IBM market should be top of the list. Now, these are mostly inexpensive, and today we're looking at a product from our stable, one of the leaders in this field's Utilities 400. Now, using premium resource has many advantages. Not only is the product arguably more robust, but is fully supported and tested by a dedicated team of experts. In addition, many premium solutions also enjoy added technologies ideal for advanced integration required by modern businesses, such as an integrated rules-based validation engine, multiple file format compatibility, and various send-receive methods. So let's take you through a simple scenario and show you how we can streamline your integration processes and procedures using the Utilities 400 integration suite. This will give you a flavor of how easy it is to do integration on the IBM I today. Today we're going to use a simple scenario. The demonstration will be one of sending and receiving XML orders, but in addition to that, being able to receive orders in other formats such as perhaps a spreadsheet. We'll demonstrate this path. The user, the customer, the supplier, whoever it may be, will be uploading the order via the FTP or indeed by email in a couple of formats, be it Excel spreadsheets or XML. We'll capture that information, we'll monitor the email system and extract the information from the email, or we'll be polling the FTP directory. Now, a product from our integration suite called iRoute will be monitoring this and extract all the information, be it from the email or from the directory, straight to the I series. Actually, that's politically incorrect these days. It's the IBM I, of course. Once on the I series, we'll run the validation programs, and on success, we'll update the database. Now, at this point, we can say, well, yes, we want to send back a recognition. So we'll send back an order confirmation via email. But what's important with this part is perhaps we're not sending an order. Perhaps we're receiving perhaps a spreadsheet from an engineer that's out on site trying to fix a component or install a product. Puts all that information on the spreadsheet, sends it through. Now, if it fails validation, we can send that spreadsheet back to the user saying failed validation, and in big, bold red letters next to that item on the spreadsheet say, well, this has failed validation, recheck, and try again. At this point, we can say, well, all the information that has passed validation will pass into the database, or we can reject that spreadsheet entirely and not pass any of the data back to the spreadsheet. But for the purposes of this particular webinar, we're going to be going with the order scenario. But just to give you a flavor of what else can be achieved with the automation side of this flow. Let me pass you over to Denise, who will be taking you through this demonstration. Welcome back to the webinar, Denise.
Thanks, Andy.
Let me make you the presenter here.
Okay.
It should just be transferring to your screen now.
Okay, and everyone should see in a moment seeing my screen. There we go. Okay, what I'm going to do to demonstrate today is taking two sales orders and uploading them into the sales order processing system on the I automatically. The only difference between these processes is that in the first example, I'll be monitoring an external FTP site for the arrival of an XML file, and in the second example, monitoring an email inbox for the arrival of an XLS spreadsheet. In both of the examples, the data will be automatically uploaded to the sales order file using a process of mimicking the manual process of entering orders onto the system. In addition, by using a file trigger on that file, an order acknowledgement will be sent automatically. In the case of the XML file, this will be transferred to the external FTP site, and for the XLS file, the order confirmation will be emailed to a specified email address. So let's begin by looking at the sales order file. What you see here is a typical sales order menu, and in option 32, there's a list of all the orders currently on the system, the last order number being 107. So how do we get an order into the system by monitoring a site? Firstly, obviously, we'll set up a monitor. And if I go into my web detection settings here, it's bottom one. So what you can see in this example, we're monitoring a site called FTP UTI 400 with a username and a password. This is just like your customers or suppliers giving you a log on to their own FTP site. We're going to be polling this folder, awaiting processing for the arrival of the XML file, and then running what's known as a script called purchase order extract. I'm going to set this detection, or I have set this detection, for 10 o'clock every day so that I can manually check the folder in a couple of minutes while we're doing the demo. So I'll just save those details. And exit that. Okay, for those of you that are unfamiliar with what XML looks like, I'll just open up one of our XML files we have here already. It looks really confusing. If you scroll down, it's kind of just a jumble of data and all those transillions or of bytes that Andy was saying about that are being transferred all over the world. So, closing that down, I'm going to set up our script, or modify our script. Modify an existing one that we set up earlier. This one. And if I do modify all, then we can go through all the different options. So what's in the script? Well, what we're saying here is to look for an XML file in a specified location, and that the file could have multiple lines, as you would expect in a purchase order. On this next screen, you can see the structure of the XML. In essence, we'll be populating the file with information needed for our sales order file. It's almost like a tree structure. The items that are in blue are what are going to be uploaded for our ERP system, and we don't need the items in red. But if I just show you here how easy it is to include another field, you simply click on it, and it moves across to the fields that need to be output. Okay. This following screen is the structure of the original XML that's been sent to you with the field lengths and the field types, etc. Moving on, we can see that we're going to be populating an I series or an I file, as Andy said before, for the example, in this example, a new work file. And in this screen here shows you the layout of the I series file with the attributes for each field, with the length and what type they are. Now what we can do, we can actually choose to run the script immediately, or we can schedule it. But if you remember earlier, we've set up web detection on this particular example. One last thing in this script is post-processing. After the file's been uploaded, the UTI automation will mimic the keying in of the order for us. Just to mention though, you can call your own interface programs at this point to get the data into your ERP system, or you can use our software in another way and go through your own validation routines. So let's simulate the file arriving in the FTP folder. Just going to save that script and exit that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take our order XMLs, I'm going to copy one from here, and remember we're polling the awaiting processing folder. I'm going to pop it in here. Okay, just wait while the screen catches up. Now, how often this site is polled is set up in the web detections I mentioned earlier, but as we're doing the demo live, I'm going to check the folder now. So if we go back into our script generator and our web detection settings, this obviously is going to be done automatically, and I'm going to do a check now. That means our file converter is actually checking. Okay. Now, we take a look in this file converter. There's a record of the file arriving, which is what's coming through on the screen now, and being uploaded to the I. So let's have a look again in the sales order system. Remember our last number was 107. I'll come out of here and just refresh that. And now we can see that an order has been placed into the system. And it really is that simple to get it up and running. And if you remember, as part of the process and to replicate what would happen in a live environment, a confirmation will be sent back to the customer. We've also incorporated this, and if I navigate to the confirmation folder, a lot of switching around here, acknowledgements, and if I just F5 there, you can see that an XML file has been sent back to the customer to confirm their order. Okay, So that's us done for XML, but just to mention at this point, within the utilities suite of products there are full audit trails, so at any time you can check what's being uploaded. And as Andy said earlier, in addition, you can choose with any of the examples to return either the whole file or certain records if they don't match the requirements of your ERP system. That means that no incorrect data is going to be uploaded. Now, in our second example, we're going to be populating the same file with an XLS spreadsheet that's been received by email. I'll just show you one of the spreadsheets that we're going to be uploading. I'll just open this up. So what you can see in this particular example, the spreadsheet's actually formatted, but for our products it does not matter what the file looks like when it arrives, as the rules can be set up in the script to detect the information we need. And as with the XML earlier, let's have a look at the detection settings for the email. I'll just close down our spreadsheets there, go back into script generator that we're familiar with now, and have a look at mail detection settings. So, I've set the detection at 40 minutes to check. Now, in a real life scenario, this would be set at a lower time interval because you'll be receiving orders all the time. And here in this Mail Attachments tab, if I have one we've set up earlier again, you can see that our description is Excel purchase orders, and we're actually looking for an email that the subject says purchase order. And it may be that you've got several customers sending their orders this way. If you wanted to make it a little more unique, you can actually change the detection settings and look for a particular sender or receiver, for example. So I'm going to close that down once more, save those details, and I'm going to go into the script that we set for Excel. And this one is our purchase orders, Excel. Modify all so we can go through each of the screens. So here we're taking an XLS spreadsheet. And in this next screen you can see all the fields we've selected from the file over on the right hand side. Now, moving on, in this next screen we're populating the same work file we populated earlier with the XML, and again setting up the I field attributes in this screen. You get the same options to run immediately or schedule, but in this example we're going to be monitoring the inbox for the arrival of the file. And again, the same post-processing, so the order will be keyed in automatically using the mimicking processing with the Utilities 400 products, and that's us done. So let's send ourselves an email with matching the criteria. I save this script, exit, and let me see. Okay, in our inbox we're going to create a new email to our UTI demo account, and remember we need to put a subject text of purchase order in there, and we're going to attach a file, could be any of these, and we're going to send it to ourselves. If I just do a send and receive here, okay, we can see the purchase order arriving. We go back into the file converter, the script generator, exit modify, and similar to earlier, just for the demo, I'm actually going to do a check now. So again, we can see very quickly that the file has been detected and it's uploading back onto the 400. So let's go back into the sales order, and there we have a new order number 109. So with the example earlier that we did with XML, we're actually going to be sending the customer back a confirmation of their order by email. Let's go back and check the same inbox. Okay, do a send and receive. We see the first order's gone, and then we have an order acknowledgement. That's a confirmation of the order. So very briefly, that's how you can integrate with customers and suppliers, etc. by using our products. It's really simple to set up, it's easy to implement, and it's a powerful way of exchanging data without any fuss and with your full audit trails. So today we've concentrated on XML and XLS because those do seem to be the most popular data exchanges that we've come across. But before I hand back to Andy, just let me show you within PCI Route all the different file formats that our products support. Okay, save those details. And And if I was creating a new script, what you can see here is a fully comprehensive list which includes SQL, text, CSV, and even Oracle. So you can take in any of those file formats and upload to the Eye. Alternatively, you could take an SQL table and then make it into an XLS spreadsheet if you so wanted to. So thanks very much for your time today, and it's back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Denise. Let me go back to my screen here. A very powerful example of XML XLS integration using the UTI 400 integration suite. And I believe that for business processes, a premium solution such as the UTI integration suite should be the preferred option, not just because you can build secure, validated and automated procedures, but because of its advanced features and functionality. So let's see how some of these compare to the freeware solutions. Now, as you would expect, the freeware solutions allow for the parse of data from their published file types picked up from the IFS. Again, for the one-off or ad hoc user, this may be all that's required, and so you should adopt these. However, if you were to do a full business suite and something that you're integrating to your suppliers, partners, customers, even internal, where it's data that needs to be right first time, the UTI suite provides much more, and much more by the ways of security and robustness too. Similarly, the same applies to the send formats. While the freeware solutions focus on parsing information, the UTI 400 solutions can also take data from the IFS, database, and or the spool file, transform it to a format of choice, and distribute it also, because it's not just about transformation options that make it so powerful. It's the ability to distribute the transformed data stream in a number of ways, via FTP, an email, or indeed more. In addition to automating the distribution of data, the solution can also be proactive in the capture of data through monitoring FTP sites, network addresses, and of course your email service too. Then of course there's the big three: validation, validation, validation. The ability to intelligently recognize bad data and not pass this into the database if there is a problem, but instead notify the originator and perhaps an administration to flag up the issue. If we need to enter the data through an API or even through the green screen windows, then fine. Plus, we need the data to be sent to received at greater speeds than traditional client-server technologies. So what's best for you? Well, if your needs are simple and you've been asked to parse a spreadsheet or XML to your system, you've little time to do this and it's only going to be a one-off and perhaps on an infrequent ad hoc basis, then we'd recommend going down the freeware route. If you're looking to integrate processes within the data stream, much like we demonstrated with the order process, then we'd recommend going down the premium route. Now, my take on this is, if what you're looking for to be achieved requires B2B integration or required validation, an audit trail, or speed and automation, then you have to look down the premium route. It's not just the features and functionalities that give it the edge. It's the flexibility it offers in terms of the extended integration opportunities. Flexibility that allows you to populate multiple IBM I databases from a single and or multiple sources. These may be of a file format or indeed databases, including Oracle, SQL, and Access. This really allows for businesses to pull together all those disparate data sources or integrate closer with their suppliers or partners. In addition, we can use external data more intelligently by secure, validated, and automated procedures to provide multiple IBM I data population using one original data set. So we can make better use of the data that you have, so output to headers, lines, trailers, etc. However, it's not all about receiving data. It's the ability to use, transform, and distribute the data that resides on the IBM I. Now, this may be within a database, within a spool file, or indeed both. The UTI integration suite can transform the data set and distribute it to different people, customers, suppliers as you see fit. Its integrated rules engine can take this one data set and, depending upon the rules, manage the transformation and distribute it accordingly. So in this example, we want to take a report from the data within the ERP of the IBM I and distribute it using rules depending upon the recipient. So for example, your manager wants the data as a report in a spreadsheet for him to use and edit as he sees fit. No problem. However, your team member just wants summary information, so would like the data to populate a table in Microsoft Word or perhaps Access. No problem. Our director, on the other hand, just wants a static document that he can review and store in PDF, while the enterprise would like to integrate this into their collaboration system in XML. All this from one data source using the one program, transformed and distributed using your own business logic. Now, in a future webinar, we'll discuss more integration activity, SQL, Oracle. We'll provide insight into workflow automation, and we're also going to hold a webinar on web application development, a real hot topic at the moment. But for now, I feel that we've covered much in the past half hour. We provided you with some industry insight into integration trends. We introduced integration toolkits specifically for the IBM I, and we also provided you with a common integration scenario within our live demonstration. Again, this webinar has been recorded, and should you wish to re-watch any part of this event, the link will be sent to you within the next 48 hours. In the meantime, we'll be closing by holding the Q&A session. Okay, so let's just take a look here. I'll open this and see what we have. Well, we have a question here from Steve Oak. He says, I have an Oracle database that provides our ordering system. Can I use this technology to pass the information from the Oracle database to the IBM I, and will there be an audit trail behind the transactions? Yes. Yes, of course. The UTI integration suite can automate the integration of information on external databases, including Oracle. You just need to set up what you want to transfer, when, and how, and that really is it. A full audit trail of events is stored and can be reported on and when required. Just two more questions. John Ryder asks, you spoke a lot about integration of other databases to IBM I, but not from the IBM I. Can I use this application as a build of an SQL data warehouse? Yes, a very good question, John. And indeed, many of our customers use the UTI integration suite as part of their extract, transform, and load procedures. As not only can we schedule and add procedures against the order and format of the load, but using advanced low-level support technology, we can transfer data at more than 5 times the speed of traditional client-server technology or ODBC, and indeed there's start technology in there, so if the transmission fails for whatever reason, we can restart from fail points. That's something that, of course, client-server ODBC can't do. Finally, one from Peter Wilmslow. I'll, of course, be taking more questions on our Twitter account and by email. Peter Wilmslow asks, my UK customer sends me orders using date alphanumerical stamp. So I think that's the UK version of, oh yes, so 21st of January 2013. Our ERP, on the other hand, accepts numerical American. Can the application translate this and enter this into the system correctly? Well, if I'm getting the gist of this, yes, you can enter your own rules for translation. So date formats, language, currency, and more. You have the ability to transform the date, in this case the data in date format, to your own specification. So an alphanumeric American can be transferred into a numerical UK and vice versa. It really doesn't matter. Indeed, if you want to transform an XML to an XLS, SQL to a CSV, we have the ability to adhere to almost all transformation and translation requirements there. That's cleared the questions there. Thank you very much for that. I know no one's coming. We'll take that offline. We'll answer it via email. Thank you very much for joining us. I think we've done pretty well in the past 33 minutes. So thank you very much for joining us on behalf of Denise.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And myself, Andrew Nicholson. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you a very good day. Thank you and goodbye.